Hello, my name is Raja Gosnell. I'm the director of The Smurfs. I was actually originally approached to direct The Smurfs about 2 years before its release time. And I was initially not too sure about it, but then once I got into sort of looking into the books and looking at all of the fantastic material that Teo created, I got really excited, and the script was fantastic, so I jumped on board. Gargamel's iconic castle up on a craggy hilltop. This marionette sequence was originally actually the opening of the movie. I actually wrote the concept of the marionettes, as I thought it would be just a funny way to open the movie, a funny way to introduce Gargamel, because you get to sort of get a peek into his mind in a twisted way. The idea of opening here was to, the audience would be expecting 3D Smurfs in a 3D world from all the ad campaigns, and then we would actually give them low-tech Smurfs in a very low-tech world. But the scene still works even not as an opening, because it does give Gargamel something a little bit off kilter to do. All this log stuff was not in the original script. I actually sort of conceived this and cooked it up with the storyboard guys and then the previous guys. I wanted this sort of, big Ewokian defense. I thought Papa would have something like that. The original script just had them sort of running from the village in panic, and I thought that they would be smarter than that. Plus, I thought that the audience would have a good time seeing Gargamel getting whacked by a log, so that was the source of all that. And thankfully, the studio supported me and agreed to pay for it. This was actually Neil and Jana's first scene shot together, and their first scene in the movie together. It was Neil's first day of working, and again, we had no rehearsal. Neil's schedule was tight, so we pretty much threw him in the wardrobe, came in the scene, blocked it out, and this is them, two great actors doing it on the fly. This is a set. You guys probably guessed that. If you see outside, those buildings across the way are actually what we call a translight. It is just a giant photograph of buildings that we can put light behind, so it appears that there's lights in the window. Jana was so happy to have an actor to work with, because she'd spent her entire first week talking to invisible Smurfs, which means she was talking to a dot, she was talking to a wire, she was talking to anything but a human being. And that was like our entire first week of shooting was poor Jana alone talking to inanimate things, pretending they're Smurfs. So she was so very happy to stay to have a human being to act opposite. I think they're absolutely charming together, and definite kudos to them for like first day, no rehearsal, they just jumped right in and found. It was originally Hank's idea that he and the cat should have such a sort of conversational type relationship, and that the cat should correct him and he should understand the cat. It was something that was not necessarily part of the original Teo design, although they were sort of boss and henchman, but and the cat always was sort of smarter. It was really Hank's idea to sort of make the conversation, because he correctly thought that if Gargamel would just keep monologuing the whole time. So having things to bounce off the cat and being corrected by the cat was completely his contribution. It's a set. Shooting in bathrooms is always tough because you need to move walls, to get camera and lights in, and all that stuff. By the way, everything you see moving here is real life. That's a real life hairdryer, real life cord. So I had a crew called my Wiggler Tickler crew, which was Steve Kershaw's special effects crew, and their job was to figure out what the heck I had in mind and how the heck to pull it off. So basically, anything you see in the real world that moves, these guys are figuring out a way to do it. So all that, the swinging chain, the moving toilet paper, they had gags, they had rigs for all that. That's actually a difficult shot. We had to set a camera on a remote mount in the middle of the table, and clear the room and just spin it. So sounds a lot easier than it actually is. Lighting in 360-degree directions, no DP is a big fan of that. But Phil made it happen for me. So. Again, the toaster is being manipulated by wires and things, and the Smurfs are completely added later. Cereal gag, same thing. Little explosion of cereal is all real. Smurf added later. I was really worried about this scene actually on paper. It was 5 pages of exposition basically. and I didn't know how to keep it interesting, and I didn't know how to stage it really. I intentionally designed this kitchen to have an island in the middle because I thought it would give me staging opportunities. This is very non-traditional New York kitchen. Most New York kitchens are galley kitchens where they're sort of narrow and long, and you have pantries on both sides and the stove and everything. But we designed a kitchen that sort of needed a lot of surface space. So we have a table, we have a little island in the middle, which is butcher blocky thing, and then the sink and all that stuff. So it worked out pretty well. There was some concern that people wouldn't buy this as a New York apartment, but I think it's all settles in pretty well.
Now, whatever Astro is, there must be something about the blue moon on your magic window machine.
Whoa! Just what is this magic searching device?
Right now I'm using Google.
Ooh!
Little jokes like that save the sequence. And Neil's classic deadpan look. So again, when you have the messages, when you have 5 pages of exposition, try and keep it moving and try and keep it interesting, and add a few jokes along the way. Helps you. Originally, in the original scripts, the entire village of Smurfs was going to come through, and they were going to occupy the apartment and just sort of be everywhere. And I thought that was a great idea. And as the budgetary axe sort of slowly fell on that idea, we had to make do with 6 Smurfs, and we loved the 6 Smurfs we brought. But I must say, by the second week of shooting, I was just so glad we didn't have 100 Smurfs because I was, having trouble. Not having trouble, but it was a challenge to sort of stage 6 different characters in 6, all in different places, all giving them something to do. So it ended up being a blessing. This is one of those scenes where it was a little tricky to give them all business while everything else was going on. Hank did such a great job with the sort of arrogance of this character. I mean, he's making a 5-course meal out of walking through some steam, and he does it so well. But he always finds a way to undercut it too, like the upcoming line about gives the skin a wonderful glow. Bear in mind that this scene is entirely looped. Looping is when we replace the dialogue after, because the rig that was making that steam was so loud. And Hank is a master at doing post-production dialogue looping. He can match performance, change lines. He's just the best in the world.
New anti-aging cream can make anyone.
Some really beautiful Steadicam work on this scene.
It's almost magical.
Astonishing, really.
The actress that plays Odile's mother there is a beautiful 40-something woman. Her name is Paula Peasy. I should say. And you never actually see her how she really looks. You see her made older by digital effects, and you see her made younger by digital effects, but you never actually get to see how she is in real life.
Escort this lunatic out. Lunatic!
Security!
I am the great and powerful
One of my
God.
favorite Tim Gunn moments.
The lunatic do this.
It's a very complicated shot, as you can imagine, because we're doing visual effects, we're moving the camera around. It definitely wanted to happen in one shot, not in a series of cuts, because I thought that would, sort of seem cheap. It seemed like we cheated. So we designed the 180 shot and saw all of the transformations happen.
What, they pay extra for the animal cruelty?
This moment here with Hank and the cat is absolutely real. We didn't plan this. We didn't, except for the crashing plates. That didn't happen. But the fact that he kept pushing the cat aside, the cat kept coming back for more. It actually went on a lot longer than that, but cups started falling and the scene sort of fell apart. But it was just one of those great moments that you can never ever predict that we had to put in the movie. So FAO Schwartz, this is one of the scenes that have been sort of whittled away as our Smurf shot count got smaller and smaller, and we just didn't know how we were going to do it. And so what was on the page was a very small, very simple scene. They run in. There's a joke about something or other, and they find the Stargazer. End of scene. And so I was 2 weeks away from shooting it, and I just was looking ahead and thought, this isn't enough. The Smurfs run into FAO. The audience is going to be expecting this big set piece, and we were promising a lot and not delivering. So I called the cavalry, which means my producer, fantastic producer Jordan Kerner, and our fantastic executive Hannah Mangila, and said, guys, we don't have it. And so I went through the various scripts, all the old versions, other things, and sort of did a cut and paste and wrote a few of the other interstitial bits together. Then handed off to the real writers, and everyone scrambled, and everyone said, "Okay, this is great. This is a great FAO scene. We'll have a second unit there to help you shoot." And so, really, so much appreciation goes to my producer and my studio on this one for really supporting what turned out to be one of the audience's favorite scenes in the movie. I originally chose this song because it allowed for a La La mashup at the end. I chose Walk This Way, and then the La La sort of fit in with the ending vamp, which you'll see. And then I did a little bit of a Smurf rap, because the lyrics are a little bit family movie inappropriate. So I wrote some Smurf lyrics, and then ultimately the writers wrote the ones that you just heard there, which are funnier and better than what I did.
You said that they would bring good luck? This is anything but good.
This is one of my favorite scenes. I think Neil did a great job.
I never wanted a house full of little people running around.
He was afraid to reference James Belly at that moment. I said, "Neil, you gotta do it. It's what the whole story is about." So he did it and did a double take, and it just turned out to be a great, great moment. The audience gasps during that. Probably the most classic and maybe slightly overused song in cinema, but that is because it works every time. I thought it would be a little bit fun and ridiculous to have these kick butt Smurfs with their kitchen implement weapons to be to marching the Back in Black. So.
Oh yeah, let's fight this guy.
This was a new addition. They always had Smurfs coming, but chanting the La-Las in a scary, gruff fashion was, I think, David Ron's idea, maybe Jay Sharrick's idea. It was an idea that came out of our roundtable. It was great.
I think the whole village must be here. Whatever will I do with all this mess?
So the idea was to always have the Smurfs overcome Gargamel with sort of non-lethal kitchen, home constructed sorts of things, kitchen office gear. So it was a lot of fun to do this because we had little Smurfs and Hank did a great job. Sort of we threw some real stuff at him, some CG stuff was coming, but he really played it up well. And actually, his egg moment, we had built a rig to have the egg impact in his head. It wasn't working, and so traditionally the job falls to the prop guy to actually throw something at the actor, but he was uncomfortable with it. So I got the call and I nailed Hank in the forehead. One of my better days on set. You'll notice a definite John Hughesian, Home Alone-ian feeling to all this stuff. It's not an accident. John actually passed away when we were in New York in pre-production, and I couldn't help but put some homage stuff in there. Swinging frying pan, that's basically straight out of Home Alone. I think it was a pink button in Home Alone, but the shooting style, everything. We always had a notion that the movie would have to end sort of seeing Neil and Jamo's baby and something back in Smurf Village. And we never quite figured out what that Smurf Village scene was. And by the time we sort of figured out what it maybe should be, it was sort of too late and the scene would be too elaborate, whatever. So I think it was Amy Pascal had the great idea to just do stills. And that's exactly what we've done. Some great iconic stills. It was Hannah and Gilla's idea to do The Guys on the Girder, which is a classic from building the Empire State Building. And we sort of took that idea and went from there. What sort of iconic New York images could we Smurfify? And but without totally making Smurf Village into Manhattan. So I think we found a good place for everything, and John plays well with the audience. Of course, Brainy and the Brainiacs have come back as big-time Smurf rock stars. Grouchy and the M&M, hilarious. Obviously from the FAO sequence. This was the last shot on the last day of shooting. It was midnight. The crew wanted to go. We didn't know what we were doing. We were fourth and long, and talking with Hank and my assistant Julia. Actually, Julia came up with the line, "I wish I could quit you." It was genius. We shot it. It worked, and that's the button of our movie. I think it was Jordan's idea to have the classic Pale Smurfs in the end credits, and I was originally, a little bit nervous about it. I think we'd spent an entire movie with 3D Smurfs. We really want to go back to the original low tech, because it could bounce both ways. It could be either, wow, I missed the 2D Smurfs. I wish they'd kept those, or, wow, those look so cheesy after seeing the 3D. So I thought it was possibly a tricky situation, but I think that they're utterly charming, and I think that they make the end credits so much more watchable, and it's just a really, really fun idea that I'm glad I got talked into.
Onions!
Was that a Smurf thing? Being afraid of onions?
No.
Was there an episode where an onion killed his family?
No.
Could the onion?
No.
Then why the fuck is he afraid of onions?
I don't know. Let's just agree that the writers were probably on meth when they wrote this.
There's no probably about it.
This is Jordan Turner's invention, the onion machine that would make Smurf tears that we get Smurf essence from.